Cold War was a turbulent time. Under the spectre of nuclear annihilation, the world prepared for a conflict that would hopefully never happen. But it undoubtedly left a legacy. The AUG, an Austrian bullpup with distinctive appearance. So what prompted Austria to develop a new firearm? What makes the AUG unique? And why do its magazines look like waffles? (1945). The Third Reich was crumbling. The Western Allies were crossing the Rhine, while the Soviets swept in from the east. On the 13th of April, the Soviets captured Vienna and drove the remaining German forces back towards their homeland. The city was in ruins. Austria was divided into 4 occupied zones. A provisional government was formed, and a formal secession from the Third Reich was announced. Over the next decade, Austria rebuilt. In 1955, they regained their political independence as the Austrian State Treaty was signed. This was contingent on a declaration of neutrality, which prohibited Austria from joining any military alliance or hosting foreign military bases. So Austria was once again an independent country, but they found themselves politically isolated, lodged between NATO to the west and the Warsaw Pact to the east. Surrounded by the tension of the Cold War, national defense was a priority. Their equipment at the time was a pick and mix of leftovers from the Americans and Soviets. Austria needed their own weapons, and they needed them quite soon. So, in 1958, they adopted the Sturmgewehr 58, a licensed version of the Belgian FNFAL manufactured by Steyr. Steyr were a long-standing Austrian arms manufacturer, originally founded in 1894. They started out making rifles, diversified to bicycles, eventually automobiles. Now, the Sturmgewehr 58 was a perfectly good battle rifle, but there are a number of flaws intrinsic to the concept. They're long, heavy, and tough to handle under automatic fire. Lighter rifles with modern materials were the future. It was the space age, after all. America was in the process of adopting the M16. So, in 1963, Colonel Walter Stoll at the Austrian Office of Military Technology was charged with finding a replacement for the Sturmgewehr 58. An intermediate cartridge was a must, a modular design too, configurable for different roles. And to address the issue of length, the novel concept of a bullpup design was considered. By placing the magazine feed point and action behind the trigger, you can shorten the weapon considerably for the same barrel length. By 1969, Steyr had finished work on the SSG-69 and now had the capacity to commit to Austria's new rifle. The first prototype was completed in 1970, and over the next 7 years, the design was iterated, tested, and improved. The result was a modular rifle capable of quickly swapping out barrels and trigger mechanism, an integrated optical scope, polymer parts to save weight, including magazines with a waffle-like pattern for reinforcement. It was convertible for ambidextrous ejection, had an enlarged trigger guard for alpine use, and a 2-stage trigger, a short pull for single fire, longer for fully automatic. It was a modern, universal rifle for the Austrian Armed Forces, the Army Universal Gewehr. The design was ready in 1977 and was adopted by the Austrian Army the same year. Large-scale production started by 1978. The AUG is configurable for a number of different roles, one of which is as a light support weapon. The AUG H-Bar is a variant equipped with a longer, heavier barrel suitable for sustained fire. It also comes with a bipod for mounted use and fires from an open bolt for better heat dissipation. The AUG 9mm or Para is on the other end of the scale, chambered for 9x19mm rounds with a magwell adapter and short barrel for close-quarter use. The updated AUG A2 emerged in 1997 with a modified charging handle and a detachable scope with Picatinny rail mount. The A3 from 2004 added rails on the side and an external bolt release. The AUG was really the first successful bullpup rifle. The French followed shortly after with the introduction of the FAMAS in 1978, and the British introduced the L85 in 1985. The AUG had by far the widest appeal, however. In 1985, Australia adopted the AUG for their armed forces as the F-88 Auster. In 1988, Ireland and New Zealand both followed suit. In fact, the rifle has been widely exported and used by police and special forces all over the globe. And by the early 1980s, exported AUGs start to make their first appearances in film and television. Its breakout role was in 1983's Octopussy, where it's seen in the hands of Soviet soldiers. Not an authentic depiction, but the AUG was unfamiliar and distinctive enough such that it might appear as some future weapon. It also crops up in television, The Professionals, The A-Team, and Miami Vice. It's mostly there for the cool factor. From its outward appearance, it's apparent that it's a firearm, but its bullpup configuration and green polymer distinguish it as something special. Certainly for the time, no other rifle had a comparable silhouette. In 1988 came Die Hard, European bad guys with questionable taste in music and haircuts, but their choice of weaponry is beyond reproach. Hallo, ich bin ein Gewehr. I'm here to kill you, yeah? Its entry to video games came somewhat late, towards the end of the 20th century, spurred not by any appearance on screen, but as a consequence of the rising popularity of shooters. The most significant depiction from this time is probably Counter-Strike, where it was known simply as the bullpup. The AUG's integrated scope is a defining feature of the classic A1. Beyond appearance, its presence has helped establish the weapon's role in games too. The AUG isn't magically more accurate than other assault rifles, but from a gameplay perspective, the presence of a scope places it into a more precise role. Somewhere between an assault rifle and DMR, when you want to feel like a sniper, but don't want to give up the ability to spray. Of course, these days it's all about configuration and choice. Integrated scopes have given way to rails, as with the most modern AUG variants. This robs the AUG of its unique silhouette. Stick a holographic sight on, and it can be hard to differentiate between the AUG and SAR-21, say, or even a Tavor. But the AUG was first. A glimpse of the future of small arms. A commendably bold and forward-looking design. And they do say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. The AUG is an exotic European weapon. A luxury firearm, high-class and high-tech. It was never as well known as the AK-47 or M16, but it has a certain aura. An outsider that's every bit as capable as the more familiar weapons, but has no need for brash celebration. It is simple, elegant engineering, unusual in some respects, but never to the detriment of its function. For those that appreciate those aspects, it is a firm favorite. The AUG. Universal. Space age. Future-proof. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.